Hello friends, welcome back to my channel Mukesh English, and this is your favorite YouTuber Mukesh Soni. Friends, in this video we shall have the discussion of first semester BA General English model question paper under Bangalore University. So let's have the discussion of the model question paper of first semester BA General English. And before we discuss the model question paper, let's glance at the question paper pattern. So examination will be for 3 hours, maximum marks 80, and the question paper is divided into the two sections. Section A, that is a prose and poetry, you have 8 chapters. Under section A, you'll be having 2 marks 5 questions, 5 marks 4 questions, 10 marks 2 questions. Section B here refers to the language component. You will have a passage here, and the passage, this is most important thing, the passage will have the weightage for 10 marks. So that means to say it will be quite difficult passage. Then you need to interpret the chart or the graph, that is for 5 marks. Then you need to arrange the bibliography either in the MLS style or the APA format for 2 marks. Then about the brochure, some theory question about the brochure writing. Then you need to describe a picture, 3 marks. Then you need to answer few questions based on the types of advertisement, that's for 3 marks. Then 2 marks questions on the communication skills, 1 mark question to join the 2 sentences by using a linker, then the question text for 2 marks. So this is the brief blueprint, I should say blueprint of your question paper. Now let's begin the discussion of the model question paper in detail. Section A, prose and poetry, 50 marks. Under section A, first section we have here, answer any 5 questions in one of the 2 sentences. Any 5 questions in one of the two sentences, that means to say 2 marks questions. Question number 1. What do the Himalayan bears enjoy eating? Himalayan bears enjoy pumpkin, corn, plums, apricots, and occasionally forage of other food in the fields and ant hills. Question number 2. What is the central theme of the poem Empty Space? The central theme of the poem Empty Space is the quest for belonging and connection amidst the exile, suffering, and the search for neutral refuge beyond the societal constraint. Then, what does the story open it? Where does the story open it take place? It takes place during the partition of India, in a refugee camp, Amritsar, and a hospital near the camp. So that's the location of the story here. Then, where does Eveline want to go with Frank? She wants to go with Frank to Buenos Aires. Question number 5. How does Kezia feel about her father at the beginning of the story? She feels scared and intimidated by her father due to his harsh and demanding behavior. Then, according to Dr. Ambedkar, what is a fundamental quality that distinguishes a great man from an ordinary person? So, what's the quality? A deep social purpose and ability to lead society towards progress. That is a quality which makes a difference between a great man from the ordinary person. Then, question number 7. What happens to the beauty of the world according to the poem Virtue? The beauty of the world is temporary and fades with time, but a virtuous soul endures forever. And the last question, what did Subal Chandra wish for? Subal Chandra wished to return to his childhood, to study properly and not waste the time. Subal Chandra is the father of Sushil Chandra. So these are the 8 questions, and you need to opt here. How many questions? 5 questions. Now we are moving to the 5 marks questions here. Out of 6 questions, you need to select only 4 questions. 5 marks questions which you need to write in a page. Write a note on the visit of the 3 bears. The story 3 bears talks about the Himalayan bears which visit the villages looking for food, and their behavior is both funny and interesting. One bear climbed onto a roof to eat pumpkins and left half-eaten pumpkins scattered as it ran away. Another time, a small bear climbed a plum tree and tried to hide by covering its face, thinking no one could see it. When the narrator laughed, the bear got scared and fell out of the tree and ran away. So, in another example, a big female bear entered a cornfield and got curious about Tibetan prayer flags hanging nearby. She played with them and pulled them down before trying to eat the corn. But when the villagers shouted and banged tins, the bear ran away angrily. So these examples show that the bears are curious. They love food like pumpkins and corn, and they can be mischievous, but they also avoid the humans when they are scared. So that is the note on the short visit of the three bears. Visit of the three bears. Question number 2 for the 5 marks. How does the story open it reflect the social and political climate during the partition? Open it story is about the pain and suffering caused by the partition of India. The story starts with Sirajuddin waking up in a refugee camp after escaping the violence of the partition. He is looking for his daughter Sakina, who he lost in the chaos. The story shows how families were separated, how people were forced to flee, to run away from their homes. Survival was the only thing that mattered that time. Sirajuddin's search for his daughter in the camp shows how the violence left people broken and lost. The story also shows how women were especially vulnerable during this time. Sirajuddin's promise to find Sakina and the help he gets from a group of young men who search for her who search for Sakina, that shows the desperation, the moral confusion of that particular time. When Sirajuddin finally finds Sakina, she seems very distant and very lifeless, showing the emotional scars left by the violence. So the author shows that partition not only hurt families but also took away people's humanity and leaving them numb and struggling to cope. Question number 3 for the 5 marks. Comment on the grandmother's role in Kezia's life. When Kezia is punished by her father for accidentally tearing up his papers, the grandmother immediately steps in to soothe her, to calm down her. She wraps Kezia in a shawl, rocks her very gently in a chair, and tries to help her understand the situation, offering her a sense of security that is absent from her interactions with her father. She's the one Kezia turns to when she needs reassurance, and her loving care provides Kezia with a safe emotional refuge in a home where her father's actions often leave her feeling anxious and frightened. So, beyond offering comfort, the grandmother also provides practical guidance and wisdom. She encourages Kezia to make a gift for her father's birthday and helps her with the task of creating a pin cushion, showing patience and kindness. Even though the grandmother cannot change her husband's strict behavior, she tries to explain his actions to Kezia, helping the young girl understand that his anger may be rooted in stress rather than malice. In moments of fear, such as when Kezia has nightmares, the grandmother offers a comforting presence, taking her into her bed for reassurance. Though these acts of kindness, the grandmother remains a very steady, nurturing figure in Kezia's life. So that's the role of grandmother in the life of Kezia. Next question: how does Rose related to the concept of virtue? Concept of virtue. Symbol of fleeting beauty. The rose in the poem represents a temporary beauty and the worldly pleasures which eventually fade away. While the rose beauty is short lived, virtue is eternal and remains unaffected by the time. The rose, the rose's withering always symbolizes the fleeting nature of material pleasures and the external beauty. Virtue, unlike the rose, endures and continues even when the physical world perishes. So, in this manner, the poem contrasts the rose's temporary beauty with the enduring nature of a virtuous soul, urging the readers to focus on lasting values rather than transient pleasures. Lasting values means to say which is always permanent, transient means to say which is not permanent. So, rose is not permanent, but virtue is always permanent. How do Subal and Sushil's personalities contrast with each other? Subal and Sushil's personalities are very different because of the age and experiences. Subal, the father, is an older man who regrets not having lived his youth properly. He wishes he had studied more and behaved better when he was young. Now that he is older, he wants to make sure his son doesn't make the same mistake. He is strict with Sushil, his son, hoping that by guiding his son, he will grow up to be responsible and disciplined. Subal often thinks about how he could have done the things differently, and he wants to teach Sushil lessons he didn't learn in his own youth. Now, on the other hand, Sushil, Subal's son, is young, full of energy. He enjoys playing, causing mischief, and avoiding the responsibilities like school, going to school. Sushil dreams of being an adult because he thinks it means having complete freedom with no one to tell him what to do. But when his wish comes true, he switches places with his father. He realizes that being an adult is not as fun as he thought. He gets tired, and doesn't enjoy playing anymore. He also starts feeling the weight of responsibilities like having to work and make decisions. So, throughout this experience, Sushil learns that both childhood and adulthood have their own challenges, and things are not always as easy as they might seem at first. Now, the last question for 5 marks. So, out of 6 questions, you are going to opt here 4 questions. Write about Eveline's internal conflict. Eveline's internal conflict is about whether to leave her home and family to go with Frank to Buenos Aires or stay where she is. She wants to go with Frank because he's kind and has promised her a better life. She remembers the happy moments they shared, like going to the theater together and singing to her. She believes that with Frank, she could escape the hard life she has at home. However, Eveline also feels responsible for her family, especially her promise to her dying mother to keep the home together. She remembers how hard she has worked to care for her father and siblings. She is scared of her father's violence and feels guilty about leaving. In the end, when she has to make the decision, she freezes and she can't go with Frank. She stays behind, unable to escape her past and the responsibilities that hold her back. Now we are going to discuss the 10 marks questions, and here you have about 3 or 4 questions, and out of 3 or 4 questions you need to select only 2 questions. So 10 marks question, that means minimum 2 to 3 pages you will be writing, minimum 2 pages. Question number 1. According to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, what are the essential qualities of a great man? This is a very important question. So Dr. B.R. Ambedkar elaborates the qualities that make a man truly great, emphasizing that greatness is not just about personal achievements or recognition, but about the broader impact one has on society. So first, 1 minute. Yeah. So the first quality he says here, sincerity. So according for Dr. Ambedkar, sincerity is a fundamental quality that a great person must possess. A great person must be genuine, and true to their cause, never pretending to be something they are not. This sincerity is not merely about outward honesty, but an inner commitment to their beliefs and actions. However, sincerity alone is not enough. A person can be sincere but still be misguided or foolish. Therefore, sincerity must be complemented by other qualities like intellect. So, second quality is here intellect. This is very critical for a great person. A great person must possess wisdom, and the ability to think critically and solve complex problems. Intellectual capacity enables a person to understand and navigate the complexities of society and human nature. It helps in making decisions which are rational, informed, and impactful. For Dr. Ambedkar, intellect is the light which guides a great man in his journey to bring positive change to the society. So, sincerity, intellect, and social purpose. The next quality to be a great man. Dr. Ambedkar stresses that a great man must be driven by a larger social purpose. This means that individuals' actions should be directed towards benefiting the society as a whole. A great man works to address the problems and the challenges faced by the people around him, especially in the time of crisis. This social purpose is what separates a great man from someone who may be simply talented or simply successful. A great man's legacy is not built on personal achievements but on the positive transformation he brings to the lives of others. Sincerity, intellect, social purpose. So, these are the three important qualities a great man should have. So, Dr. Ambedkar believes that a true great man must combine sincerity, intellect, and a deep commitment to social well being. These qualities together enable a person to have a lasting, meaningful impact on society. Now we are moving to the second question for 10 marks. Explore the conflict between duty and desire in the story Eveline. So, in the story Eveline, the central conflict revolves around Eveline's struggle between her duty to her family and her desire for a better life with Frank. After her mother's death, Eveline took on the responsibility of caring for her father and younger siblings. She works hard at the stores, and despite her father's mistreatment, she feels bound by the promise she made to her mother to keep the home together. This sense of duty makes it hard for her, even considering leaving, as she believes that she must continue to care for her family, even at the cost of her own happiness. So, at the same time, Eveline has a deep longing, deep desire for different life, the life which should be filled with love and freedom. She sees Frank, who is kind and loving, as a way out. Frank wants to take her away to Buenos Aires where they can start a new life together. Eveline dreams of escaping her harsh reality, where she is constantly reminded of her mother's death and her father's cruelty. Frank offers a chance to experience happiness and love away from the life of duty and sacrifice she has known. Eveline is excited by the idea of living a life of respect and love, which seems like the freedom she has always wanted. However, when the time comes to make a decision, Eveline finds herself paralyzed by fear and guilt. As she stands at the station, ready to board the ship with Frank, she is overwhelmed by the weight of her responsibilities. She feels she can't break her promise to her mother, who urged her to keep the family together. Eveline's sense of duty to her family ultimately wins, and she decides not to go with Frank. Her desire for a better life is overshadowed by the fear of abandoning her family and the promise she has made. So, in the end, Eveline stays behind, choosing duty over her own happiness and leaving Frank behind. Next question for the 10 marks. How does the poet contrast the fleeting nature of earthly beauty with the eternal quality of virtue? So, in the poem Virtue, George Herbert compares the short lived beauty of nature to the eternal nature of virtue. The poet begins by describing the beauty of nature, such as sweet day, sweet rose, sweet spring. These are all beautiful things, but they are very temporary. The day ends with night, rose fades and dies, spring eventually passes. This highlights how the beauty of nature doesn't last forever, it is not permanent, it is temporary. The poet says that even though nature appears beautiful, but it is destined to die. The dew shall weep thy fall tonight. This line suggests that the beauty of the day will be gone by evening. Similarly, the rose, though bright and beautiful, has its root in the grave. That means it will eventually die. In contrast, the poet speaks of a sweet and virtuous soul which does not fade or die. A virtuous person, like well seasoned timber, is very strong and long lasting. Even when the world changes or things fall apart, virtue remains. This shows that virtue is eternal and not affected by the time. Then, virtue is the highest quality. The poet makes the point that virtue is more valuable than temporary beauty. While everything in nature eventually dies, virtue stays alive. The final line suggests that even if the world turns to coal or destruction, a virtuous soul continues to live on, highlighting its power and permanence. Through these examples, the poet contrasts the fleeting nature of earthly beauty with the lasting quality of virtue. Earthly things are beautiful but not permanent, while virtue is something that never dies, making it the most important quality of a person can have. So this is how we have discussed here the 50 marks questions from the prose and poetry. Now we are moving to the part 2 of the question paper, that is grammar, which has the weightage for 30 marks. So in this section, we have the very first question here, comprehension passage. So a passage will be given and you need to read the passage and you need to answer those questions. So the most important part of this question paper is here, the passage weightage is here 10 marks. BA, only one BA has the stream which has this weightage here for 10 marks. I mean to say only the BA course has been given this an advantage that the passage has a weightage for 10 marks. That means 5 questions will be asked and each question has the weightage for 10 marks. Don't forget. Where is scoring question paper? Scoring question paper. A comprehension passage has the weightage for 10 marks. 5 questions will be given. Read the passage, find the answer from the passage and answer it. Each question will be having the weightage for 2 marks. So totally 10 marks passage. Second question you have here, data interpretation. From the topic data interpretation, where a chart, pie chart or a graph will be given. You need to read, you need to go through, you need to observe the graph, then you need to explain the graph in your words. So if you look at this graph here, you will find here how the total expenditure of a company has been shown here. They are spending 20% on infrastructure, 12.5% of transport, 15% of on percentage of expenditure on advertisement, R&D only 5%. So you need to write in the sentences. Right? So you can pause the video and you can go through this answer. I have prepared here 2 answers. This is answer number 1. And if you pause the video, you can go through the second answer also. So whichever you like, you can take up. In second answer is quite advanced one where you are going to compare that, like more expenditure is on infrastructure and salary. R&D has very less infrastructure. Whereas we find expenditure on transport and taxes are quite similar. Now the R&D investment should be more. So like this, you need to write here. So data interpretation is for 5 marks. So friends, I have done special videos on data interpretation. You can watch my special videos link in the description box in the grammar section. Now you have another question. You have another question here. Bibliography. So you need to arrange the following information in the format. There are two formats of bibliography. One is MLA, another is a APA. So title of the book, Handmaid's Tale, publisher, Anchor Books, author Margaret Atwood, place of publication New York, year of publication 1985. So I have given you both the answers. You can use any one. MLS style, both has one same common thing. The last name of the author should come first, comma, the first name, then name of the book, full stop, then publisher name, comma, year of publication. That is a MLA format. In APA format, the year of publication will appear in the bracket. The remaining information will be same. So bibliography question will be for 2 marks. And again, I have done special videos on bibliography. Watch the list, the link in the description box. Next question we have here, theory question about brochure. So there won't be any question on prepare a brochure. There will be questions on what is brochure, what is the meaning of brochure, how many kinds of brochure, importance of brochure, content of brochure. So that is for 2 marks. So in this model question paper, you have a question, what information should be there in a brochure? So what can be the answer? A brochure should include company's name, at least 2 types of contact information, a logo and a tagline and a headline on the front and the 2 or the 3, as well as the brief items. Then a picture will be given. You need to describe the picture, right, in your own words, simple language, use it. So picture description will be for 3 marks. You can pause the video and see the picture, and this is the description I given about the picture. So you can pause the video and you can go through the description. Then next question we have here about advertisement. Again, about advertisement, you have theory question, meaning of advertisement, types of advertisements, importance of advertisement. So these are the importance of advertisement. This for 3 marks. So brochure and advertisements are the theory questions. You have to prepare very well from the textbook. Okay. And even though I have done the videos on brochure and advertisements, but that videos are not useful because you have theory questions, you don't have the practical questions. Next question you have here, non-verbal communication, on the communication skills. So I have done videos on communication skill also. Here they will be asking you only one question, the meaning of, I mean to say, 2 marks questions like examples of non-verbal communication, eye contact, gestures, movement, posture, body language, facial expression. So in the examination, they might ask you, what is the meaning of communication? What's the meaning of non-verbal communication? Mention the components of non-verbal communication, difference between verbal and non-verbal communication, right? So these are the important questions on this topic. Watch my special video on communication skills. Link is in the description box. 2 marks question. Then conjunctions or linker. You need to join the 2 sentences by a given conjunction. So you have a linker here because you need to join here 2 sentences. The meeting was cancelled. The manager was sick. So you know the cause and effect here. So 1 mark answer, 1 mark question. The meeting was cancelled because the manager was sick. So this is how you need to combine the 2 sentences. Then last question you have here, question tag. So linkers videos are also done. Even question tag video is also done. Question tag. So 2 questions for the question tag. Reena is from Mumbai. What's a question tag? Isn't she? So when the sentence is positive, question tag is negative. When the sentence is negative, question tag will be positive. For example, Reena is not from Mumbai. What's a question tag? Is she? Reena is from Mumbai. Isn't she? They are late for the movies. Aren't they? They are not late for the movies. Are they? So when the sentence is positive, question tag is negative. It's always vice versa. So this is how I have tried to solve the first semester BA question paper SCP syllabus from the year 2024 under Bangalore University. And all the videos links you can see in the description box: summary, 2 marks questions, model question paper, grammar. And this is how I have done. And thank you so much for watching this video. Like the video, comment the video, subscribe the channel if you have not yet done it. So I wish you very good luck for the examination. Stay in tune with Mukesh English.